If I can just, before we go on, good morning, to talk about Fiat, just ask you a little bit about the European economic data out today on the auto industry. It wasn't particularly positive, was it?
Yeah, pretty weak sales, down 12%, 13%, depending on how you cut Europe, if you like. Largely expected, though, because last year we were helped by government incentives that encourage people to buy cars, so we're coming off a pretty strong base.
Of course.
So we're in line with what people are expecting. If anything, it's not quite as bad as people thought.
Okay. But tell me about Fiat. What's the reason, what's the thinking behind this move?
So I think that the thinking is twofold. Number one, the valuation of Fiat certainly has lagged, the industrial side at least, had lagged peers. So Fiat as a group's trading on an EV to sales in the mid-30s. Most capital goods companies trade above 1x sales. So certainly it feels like there's some value trapped in it. I think the other part of it is that the capital needs of those two businesses, the plans of them are so disparate that it makes sense for them to actually go their own way.
Is everybody happy about this?
I think so. I mean, I have yet to hear anyone complain about it, and I think it's treating everyone fairly because you get, for one Fiat share, a Fiat Industrial share, and you hold on to what you have. So, you know, post the demerger, you get to choose which investment you'd rather be in. Right,
and there is no concern about whether or not they're big enough to stand alone, each of these companies?
I think that is the one concern, is about scale, because the obvious question is why now? Why haven't they done it previously? And I think on the Fiat Auto side, it's the tie-up with Chrysler that's given them the, if you like, the courage to say that maybe it's time for actually the two businesses to separate.
Okay. Now, this isn't a controversial deal for the equity holders, as you said, but what about people holding debt?
I think, you know, if I was a debt holder, I would wonder about my future cash flow. I think most people would perceive that the industrial business has subsidised the auto business in bad times. So if you're left holding Fiat Auto debt, then I guess you have to wonder how capable are they of actually repaying that debt.
Now, you talked about the tie-up with Chrysler. How is that going? There's such, you know, the American market and the European market, very different.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be a work in progress. We know what the plans are. We're yet to see any of the, if you like, the collaboration products. The thing about the two businesses, as you said, you know, they're very different businesses, different ends of the market. Fiat does small cars, Chrysler does big cars and SUVs. So I think it'll take certainly a while before they realise the synergies, if there are any, between the two.
And indeed, I mean, the US market itself is so very different with, you know, they like discounts, don't they? Is that going to continue? Are we going to see more globalisation, or will the market in Europe and the States remain different?
The US has changed, I think, because Chrysler and GM went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And I think as a result, the market has been weaned off incentives because they're no longer pushing volumes. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hold on to that. In Europe, I think, you know, it's probably the reverse to some degree, because we've been all, if you like, fortunate enough to have government incentives. I think the manufacturers are going to have to step in to some degree and subsidise car prices.
And is the way that cars are manufactured globally changing?
It's broadly the same. The only thing that I guess is changing is that all companies are trying to find economies of scale. That's the reason why Chrysler and Fiat are tying up. They're trying to find bigger platforms, greater commonality, if you like, between the cars that they produce.
Okay. Mike Tyndall, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.